Hey everyone, it's Leftovers for Dinner, and today I'm going to show you how to recycle a thrift shop sweater into yarn. Got my tools right here. Just make sure you have a good pair of scissors and either some lace weight crochet hooks, like steel crochet hooks, or a seam ripper if you have one of those. I don't have a seam ripper, that's one of the more popular things, but I'm just using some, crochet doily weight lace weight crochet hooks. And we're gonna get this unraveled and turn it into some really pretty blue yarn that I can use for a summer project. Now, recycling sweaters you got from the thrift shop for yarn is a great way to get cute yarn for, a really good price. But you need to make sure you get sweaters that you can recycle. There are machine knit sweaters, and then there's hand stitched sweaters. And I'm going to show you examples of seams to look for and seams to avoid. Right here, we've got the tank top I'm going to be working on, and I've turned it inside out. When you're at the thrift shop, just turn the sweater you're looking at inside out and check the seams. This is a good example of a sweater you should get. You can see the seams, they're not cut off. And if you roll it up, let me see if I can get focused in on that. It's kind of hard with one hand. Okay, there we go. See that? That's a crochet stitch seam. And you're going to be undoing that so that you can recycle the whole sweater. Now, this is an ideal seam to look for. It means all your yarn's not going to come off in bits and pieces, and you won't have to join all the ends when you're unraveling it, because that's just difficult. And if you try to reuse the yarn again, you'll have all these bumpy places where you had to join it and knots and everything, and nobody wants that. Here's an example of a sweater you should avoid. I'm just going to show you the edge of it. If you can see that, that's elastic and thread. Basically, this sweater was made on a machine. They made two different sections, and then they cut them out to look like a sweater, and before they started to unravel, they laid some elastic down and sewed it together to make the sweater. You should really avoid these. Again, if you try to recycle this, it's just going to come off in bits, and it's pretty frustrating. So, we're going to do this sweater. I've gone ahead and turned my sweater inside out so that I can see the seams. And the first thing I'm going to do is disassemble the sweater into different sections. Looks like the straps are one section, and then the front and back are separate sections. So we'll do the straps first, and then the back, and then the front. It's also good to leave it inside out so you can better see and understand what you're working with. Like the first thing we're going to do is the straps, and I can clearly see, I don't have to keep turning and twisting them, I can clearly see the seams. So we'll start with that first. Okay, we've gone ahead and we've found a seam, and we found where I guess they slip stitched and finished off the piece. So we basically work backwards from here. And if I just get my crochet hook untangled, I can show you what's up. And it looks like right there is a knot. So what we can do is we can either cut it and then unravel from there, or we can try to untie it. We're going to try to untie it for a few seconds just to see if it'll cooperate. Otherwise, we're going to end up cutting it. yeah, we're gonna go ahead and cut this. Okay, and looks like we've gotten through almost all the strands of the knot, so that's good. Oh, and there we go. Sweater has started to break apart, and that's what we want. Cool. Now we're going to try for this side. I already tried to start working on it. Got a little frustrated. So we may end up snipping right along there, which I think is the final row for that. And if so, we're just losing a couple of strands of yarn. No big deal. But I'll keep messing with it for a few moments, and if we don't get any progress, we'll just snip along that joining line, because that's what joins the strap to the body of the sweater. Turn it this way so that maybe we can see it a little better. The biggest thing about recycling sweaters is patience. Cool. And that's one strap. We'll go ahead and get the other one done, and then work on the body. Now the good thing is, it looks like these straps for this tank top are actually crochet, so this is going to be very easy for me to unwind, since I'm more of a crocheter than I am a knitter. See? Looks like a bunch of half double crochets. Now I really shouldn't be unwinding it just yet, but I was just showing you guys. I should be making sure that I deconstruct the whole thing before I start, you know, unwinding and unraveling it. Okay, we're going to go ahead and disassemble the body. There's two ways you can go about this. You can look between these two seams and try to find the end seam and the end stitch and unravel it from there, which I'm trying to do right now. Or you can lift up the side and you can locate the crochet seam. It's a little hard to see, but it looks like a V stitch. What you can do from there is you can either use your seam ripper or a crochet hook and try to rip that V stitch. If you can't get it ripped, you can also take your scissors and start a cut as far up near the top as you can. Okay, you're going to want to cut through both of the strands in that V stitch. Okay. Okay, so I got the V's from the crochet stitch cut, and now if you look real hard, they're unraveling. They're just popping out. See? And once you get it started, you'll notice on the other side, see those bar-shaped stitches? That's the other side of the V stitch. And now it's free, and if you look, there's more bar stitches. From here, you can flip it back over and just keep pulling. Now, we've only done about 3 or 4 stitches so far, because I'm trying to show you guys. And once you get a good start, it'll actually move along a lot faster. But I'm going to go ahead and pause this and work on this so that we can get it done so you can see what the body looks like separated. It's going to take a while. Okay, so I've finally got the front and the back separated. Took me about an hour to do, but the front of the sweater is now detached. As you can see, there's nice clean seams on each edge. Now, it turned out for this particular sweater that the camisole straps were actually crocheted, and from that crochet strap, whoever made this actually used that to seam the sweater together. So I had to unravel all of that to help me get the edges undone. And just like with any real life knitting project or crochet project that you know somebody does, be prepared to follow the pattern, just in reverse. What I went ahead and did was, since those straps were smaller, I went ahead and wrapped them around this piece of doubled cardboard, and I can save those, skein them up into a small ball, and use those in case I need to seam up a future project from this yarn. But now that I've got both the front and the back detached, I can go ahead and start unraveling it. I do have a couple of problems that I need to address first. It looks like this top edge of the back, where the price tag, or the name tag was, has a tiny additional seam, and that looks like it's some sort of reversed crochet. So I'm going to go ahead and work on that. That's going to take me a while to figure out because I can't figure that out. Like where it started. I think this is where it started, but then if you go to the other edge, you'll see that. So if you look really close, you can see that it looks just like a crochet chain stitch. It's going to take me a little bit to figure out. I've already spent about an hour or so doing this, so maybe a fresh mind in the morning might help. These projects take a while, but they're fun, and the reward is you get some really cool yarn. The front is already starting to come apart, which is cool. So all I get to do is start unraveling it. Now, what happens is you're going to get excess yarn or loose yarn. What you're going to want to do is, as you unravel, you're going to want to put this yarn that's all wavy because it's been knitted up onto your nitty knotty right here. And you can either tape it, or I'm being clever here, since I have a PVC nitty knotty, I'm going to put one end right here. See that? And close that cap. And as I unwind, I can actually start putting it. It's kind of hard to do this while recording. Onto my nitty knotty. Okay, and I'm back. It's actually been a couple of days since I left the video. I went ahead and got the rest of the front of the sweater unraveled and skeined up on my nitty knotty. I actually stopped and got myself resituated with the nitty knotty so I could properly skein the yarn onto it. And this is what the yarn looks like and my nitty knotty looks like so far. I left the yarn on the nitty knotty for a couple of days to help straighten it out more. Now, once I think it's going to be as straight as it's going to get, I'm going to gently take it off of here and tie a couple of pieces of yarn in key places, like just some acrylic yarn in a contrasting color. And then I'm going to dip this in a lukewarm or cool bath. This is cotton, so it could be lukewarm. And then I'm going to hang it up to dry to help it straighten out more. If you're recycling a wool sweater, I definitely recommend cool water. But nitty knotty really helped. As you can see, this is a whole lot of yardage. This is probably 300 yards or so, I'm just guessing. And I still have the back to unravel. But already, I've got a decent amount of yarn. Oh, and since the straps and the actual bust line of the sweater were crocheted, and they were smaller strands, I went ahead and undid those and wrapped them around on the cardboard thing. I'm going to actually use this, even though it's shorter strands and they kind of have a couple of knots in them, like right there. Let's see if we can focus in on that. This is still great joining yarn. I don't have to waste any of the big long strands from the front or the back on joining new sections or seaming something. I've already got my seaming yarn right here, and it's all wound up politely and grouped together, so I don't have to worry about what's what. So there you go, my little recycled yarn project. I've got several hundred yards of high quality blue cotton yarn that's super soft for $1.99 and a lot of patience. I like recycling sweaters. I'm going to be doing this a lot more, and it's going to help me get the yarn I like, or interesting yarn that I'm going to like working with, for what, 99 cents to $3, instead of spending a whole lot of money on yarn that's really pretty from like designer yarn stores or from, you know, websites. So I hope you like this video, and let me know what you think.